Can you imagine living with what Scott Norwood has to live with today? Wherever Scott Norwood goes, no matter what he does, family, friends, media, anybody in the supermarket, anybody in the restaurant, they're going to talk about Super Bowl 25, that kick. That's it.
The quiet man of this football team, Scott Norwood, barely raises his voice above a whisper. He can fire the shot heard round the world now.
In hearing that every single day of your life, I know you're going to get sick of it. And I'm sure Scotty has.
Now, tell me the truth, Scott. Now, when we're coming up here, you had to be dreading this, right? I mean, you figured, oh, no, they're going to start with a kick, and why do I have to go through this again? Does it mystify you why so many people are so interested in the question, how do you feel? How do you feel now? How did you feel when you missed a kick? Is that puzzling to you?
Yeah, it is puzzling. I think that simply the word empathy probably comes to mind at some point, that you have the ability to put yourself in my shoes. It was a tough thing to handle, especially it faded after a while. I think that's been the greatest healer, is just time.
I think it affects him still to this day in a way that none of us will understand. I think it's a scar that he carries with him, and I think it's unfortunate. I love the guy. I mean, he won a lot of games for us.
This could win it for the Bills. The put down, the kick is up, and the kick is good, and the Bills have won it in overtime.
And it was tragic that his legacy is one that has to be in that Super Bowl.
The most pressure-packed field goal attempt in history came from 47 yards. Scott Norwood never had made one from that distance on grass before. And although his kick sailed wide right, he faced every question front and center after the game.
He stepped up to the mic and took his lumps and really handled it like a man.
Look, I realize I missed a big opportunity today.
It would have been really easy to dodge, but he didn't. And he handled it in a way that I was very proud of him.
You got a lot of letters, too, didn't you? And I wanted to read you. We watched your interview after the game, and you touched our hearts. Everything I have ever wanted to teach our children was taught by you in just a few minutes. How does that make you feel?
Physically it gives me goosebumps to hear nice letters like that. And I recall that time period when I was flooded with letters. It warms me to see that people saw that I had, in a sense, my priorities right.
When the Bills returned to Buffalo following the Super Bowl, the fans welcomed Norwood. That moment was a catharsis for Scott, but it also marked the beginning of a haunting ritual. People wanting him to talk about the miss.
You know, we're struggling with this right now, and you know who I am, but I know I've never felt more loved than right now.
Scott Norwood kicked for the Bills for 7 seasons, often in brutal weather conditions. He made nearly 75% of his field goal attempts. He went to the Pro Bowl once, and it was his 44-yard field goal in the '91 AFC Championship that sent Buffalo to a second straight Super Bowl. Despite all his accomplishments, though, it seemed all anyone ever wanted to ask him about was one kick.
The media that was on Scott Norwood was just relentless. I don't remember him saying lost the game, but I'm sure he felt that way. I know he felt that way. I mean, how many times does he have to say that? What approach does Scott Norwood take? He can't take any. There is no approach that Scott Norwood can take, I don't think, to relieve the pressure.
Was there ever a time in the last 3-4 years that, I mean, this thing really bugged you? That you were really depressed?
Not much thought given to this last few years.
You ever think, you know, that like Ralph Branca, who threw the pitch to Bobby Thompson, made a whole career out of talking about, you know, adversity. Everybody's had a moment where they failed. Do you ever sense that you could be a spokesman here on even a much broader stage than a missed field goal, but lessons about life itself?
It'd be nice to, benefit others and, teach them some life lesson, but I never saw that I'd be able to do that through this kick. And of course, if you're to do something like that, then you have to continually go back there, immerse yourself in it, and use the word failed, and I don't really see it that way. I'm more of a logical stand back. I did the best I could. Didn't work out. Missed it, but I didn't fail.
You just don't want to revisit that whole thing
Yeah,
again.
just not because it's a painful situation. It just becomes, I get kind of bored with it.
How do you feel when you see that on ESPN now, and you see that? I mean, when it comes Super Bowl week, and you have to see, oh no, I got to see that damn shot again.
I'm sure, when I saw it in the past, and if I see it in the future, that it's always going to be wide right. There's nothing. That's the thing about our past, is that you can't make it any better, you can't make it any worse. There's nothing that you can do to affect it.
If he could alter history, Scott Norwood's kick no doubt would split the uprights. But Norwood is more concerned with the present than the past. He has a successful career with an insurance company, and he and his wife are raising 3 children. He's done his best to forget about the kick. He just wishes the rest of the world would do the same.